there was a man who could leave his body behind and hunt as a wolf, not cursed, not bitten. He chose it, and his bloodline became kings. This is the story of Ireland's first werewolf. His name was Laignech Faelad, and according to a 12th century Irish text called the Coir Anman, he was the first of them to go into a wolf shape. But here's where it gets interesting. The term Faelad has two meanings. It means wolf shapes, but it also means wolfing, as in the act of raiding and marauding like a pack of wolves. So was Laignech a literal shapeshifter, or was he a savage warrior whose violence was so brutal they called it becoming a wolf?
Probably both. In pre-Christian Ireland, that distinction didn't really exist. A warrior who wore wolf skins, fought in a frenzy, and went wolfing on raids, he was a wolf, spiritually, ritually, maybe literally. And this wasn't some outcast or monster. Laignech Faelad was royalty. He was the brother of a historical king of Ossory, a kingdom in what's now County Kilkenny and County Lace. He died around 583 AD, and every king of Ossory after him, they claimed to be his descendants, the Wolf Kings. For centuries, the ruling dynasty of an Irish kingdom openly bragged that their ancestor was a werewolf. That was their legitimacy. That was their power. So who were these people, really? Let's talk about the Fianna, bands of young warriors who lived in the wilderness outside normal society. They couldn't inherit land yet, they hadn't settled down, so they formed these packs, living in the forests, hunting and raiding, and they were obsessed with wolves. They wore wolfskins into battle, literally called luchtan, which means wolfskins. They styled their hair like wolves. They fought with this savage, frenzied style that mimicked a wolf pack tearing apart prey. And their primary activity? Going wolfing, och Faelad, raiding settlements and taking what they wanted. But here's the dark part. Some sources say there was an elite group called the Laignech Faelad, specialized mercenaries, half man, half wolf, who fought for the legendary High King Tigernmus. And they didn't take payment in gold. They demanded the flesh of newborn infants, which they devoured greedily. Now, was that real? Or was that Christian propaganda trying to make pagan warriors look like demons? Hard to say, but it points to something real. These warrior cults had brutal initiation rites, blood sacrifices, rituals that made them other. And these wolf warriors weren't unique to Ireland. From Norse berserkers to ancient Germanic tribes, Europe was full of men who became wolves in battle. But then Christianity arrived, and the church had a problem. You can't have kings claiming they're descendants of a guy who voluntarily turns into a wolf and kills people. That's pagan. That's dangerous. That's not how good Christians behave. So they rewrote the story. In the new version, Laignech Faelad and his followers weren't powerful, they were cursed. The most famous account comes from a guy named Gerald of Wales in 1187. He tells the story of a priest who meets a talking wolf in the forest. The wolf explains that he and his wife are from Ossory, and they're suffering under a curse placed on their people by Saint Natalis. Every 7 years, 2 people from Ossory are forced to live as wolves. If they survive, they get to turn back. Then 2 more take their place. But here's the kicker. The wolf is Catholic. He's articulate. He's pious. He begs the priest to give his dying wife the last rites. And the priest does.
The message is clear. These aren't monsters. They're Christians trapped in a beast's body. They need to be saved. By the church. By the Normans who were invading Ireland at that exact moment. Gerald wasn't writing folklore, he was selling a conquest. To him, the Irish were savages who needed saving. The dying wolf begging for last rites? That's Ireland itself, broken and ready to submit to Rome. Let's get into the weirdest part, how the transformation actually worked. Unlike modern werewolves, where your body physically changes, the ossuary werewolves left their human bodies behind. You'd go into a trance. Your body would collapse, looking dead or asleep. And your spirit, your consciousness, would leave and inhabit the form of a wolf. But here's the rule. Nobody could move your body, not even an inch. If someone moved you while you were out there hunting as a wolf, your spirit couldn't find its way back. You'd be trapped forever. A wolf until you died.
And there was this weird sympathetic link. If the wolf got injured, the wound would appear on the sleeping human body. And here's the really disturbing detail. Meat that the wolf ate in the forest would appear raw and bloody in the jaws of the human body back home. It suggests these people had access to something, some ancient practice, maybe druidic, that allowed them to split their consciousness and journey in another form. Fast forward to today, the legend of Laignech Faelad almost disappeared. But in 2020, an Irish animation studio called Cartoon Saloon released a film called Wolf Walkers, and they nailed it. The film shows the transformation exactly as the medieval sources described, spirit leaving the body, not physical metamorphosis. It's set in 17th century Kilkenny during the Cromwellian conquest. The English are destroying the forests, killing the wolves, and destroying Irish culture.
The wolfwalkers aren't cursed, they're guardians of nature, symbols of a fading, free Ireland. And the film frames the English as the real monsters, cutting down the wild to make it civilized. It's a reclamation. The legend that was once used to justify conquering Ireland is now a story about resisting that conquest. So, what is Laignech Faelad really? He's a warrior, a king, a shapeshifter, a curse. He's a reminder that myths don't belong to the people who write them down. They belong to the cultures that keep them alive. And in Ireland, the wolf still howls. If you want to see more deep dives into forgotten myths, legends the history books skip over, hit subscribe. We've got more monsters, warriors, and stories that'll change how you see the ancient world.